The Night at Dawn, Magic Treehouse, Chapter 9 and Chapter 10. All right, so we left off on Chapter 8, so now we're on Chapter 9, Under the Moon. Jack froze. "It's him," Annie whispered. The knight held out his gloved hand. "Come on, Jack," Annie said. "Where are we going?" said Jack. "The knight wants to help us," said Annie. "How do you know?" said Jack. "I can just tell," said Annie. Annie stepped toward the horse. The knight dismounted. He came towards Annie, and he picked her up and put her on the back of his horse. "Come on, Jack," she called. Jack moved slowly toward the knight. It was like a dream. The knight picked him up, too. He placed Jack on the horse behind Annie. The knight got on behind both of them, and then he slapped the reins, and they took off. The black horse cantered beside the moonlit water of the moat. Jack rocked back and forth in the saddle. The wind blew his hair. He felt very brave, and he felt very powerful, too. He felt as if he could ride forever on his horse with this mysterious knight. Over the ocean, over the world, over the moon. A hawk shrieked in the darkness. "There's a treehouse," said Annie. She pointed towards a grove of trees in the distance. "Over there." This is a picture of them riding. The knight steered his horse toward the trees. "See, there it is, Annie. Right over there. See the ladder?" The knight brought his horse to a stop. He dismounted and helped Annie down. "Thank you, sir," she said, and she bowed. Then Jack said, "Thank you," and he bowed also. The knight got back onto his horse. He raised his gloved hand, and he slapped the reins and rode off through the mist. Annie started up the tall ladder, and Jack followed. They climbed into the dark treehouse and looked out the window. The knight was riding toward the outer wall. They saw him go through the outer gate. Clouds started to cover the moon again. For a brief moment, Jack thought he saw the knight's armor gleaming on the top of a hill way beyond the castle. The clouds covered the moon completely, and a black mist swallowed the land. "He's gone," whispered Annie. Jack shivered in his wet clothes as he kept staring at the blackness. "I'm cold," Annie said. "Where's that Pennsylvania book?" Jack heard Annie fumble in the darkness. He kept looking out the window. "I think this is it," said Annie in the darkness. "I feel a silk bookmark." Jack was only half listening. He was hoping to see the knight's armor gleam again in the distance. He kept looking out the window for the knight. "Okay," said Annie, "I'm going to use this one." She knew Jack wasn't looking at her. "Because I think it's the right one. Here goes. Okay, I'm pointing right here. I'm going to wish. I wish we could go to Frog Creek." Jack heard the wind began to blow, softly at first. "I hope I pointed to the right picture in the right book," said Annie. "What?" Jack looked at her. "Right picture? Right book? What did you do?" The treehouse began to rock. The wind got louder and louder. "I hope it wasn't the dinosaur book," said Annie. "Stop!" Jack shouted. "Stop!" he shouted to the treehouse, shaking. Too late. The treehouse started to spin. It was spinning and spinning. The wind was screaming, and suddenly there was silence. Absolute silence. All right, Chapter 10. One mystery solved. The air was warm. It was dawn. Far away, a dog barked. "I think that's Henry barking," Annie said. "We did come home. Hooray!" They both looked out the treehouse window. "That was close," said Jack. In the distance, street lights lit up their street. There was a light in their upstairs bedroom window. They were so happy. "Uh-oh," said Annie. "I think Mom and Dad are up. Hurry, let's go." Wait. In a daze, Jack unzipped his backpack. He pulled out the castle book. It was really wet, but Jack placed it back with all the other books. "Come on, hurry," said Annie, scooting out of the treehouse. Jack followed her down the ladder. They reached the ground and took off, running between the gray-black trees. They left the woods, and they ran as fast as they could down the deserted street. They got to their yard and crept across the lawn, right up to their back door. Jack and Annie slipped inside the house. "Oh, whew, they're not downstairs yet," whispered Annie. "Shh," said Jack. He led the way up the stairs and down the hall. No sign of his mom or dad. But he could hear water running in the bathroom. Their house was so different from that dark, cold castle. Their house was so safe and cozy and friendly and warm. Annie stood at her bedroom door. She gave Jack a smile, and then she disappeared inside her room. Jack hurried into his room. He took off his damp clothes and pulled on his dry, soft pajamas. He sat down on his bed, and he unzipped his backpack. He took out his wet notebook, and he felt around for the pencil, but his hand touched something else. Jack pulled the blue leather bookmark out of his backpack. It must have fallen out of the castle book. Jack held the bookmark close to his lamp and looked at it. He really studied it. The leather was smooth and worn, and it seemed ancient. For the first time, Jack noticed a letter on the bookmark. It was a fancy letter M. M. Jack opened the drawer next to his bed. He took out the gold medallion. He looked at the letter on it. It was the same M written on the medallion as the bookmark. Now this was an amazing new fact. Jack took a deep breath. One mystery solved, he thought. The person who had dropped the gold medallion in the time of the dinosaurs was the same person who owned all the books in the treehouse. Who was this person? Jack placed the bookmark next to the medallion. He closed the drawer. He picked up his pencil and he turned to the least wet page in his notebook, and he started to write down this new fact. The same. But before he could finish writing, his eyes closed. He was so tired. He dreamed they were on the with the night again, all three of them, riding the black horse through the cool, dark night, beyond the outer wall of the castle, and up over the moonlight hill into the mist. So that's it. The last page. He fell asleep before I could finish writing the same, and that's the bookmark with the M on it. And that's the end of Magic Treehouse number 2. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon for the next Magic Treehouse book. All right, have a great day, everybody. Just relax and listen to my books, and everything will be well. Okay, see ya.